American football has a rich and detailed history that stretches back to the 1800s. The sport we watch on TV today, with helmets, pads, complex strategies, and high tech equipment, started out as a rough and loosely organized contest. In its earliest days, the game looked like a strange mix of rugby and soccer, played by large groups of students on open fields, often muddy, uneven, and without official boundaries. It often resembled more of a chaotic street brawl than the carefully structured sport we know now. Crowds of students and even townsfolk would gather to watch these wild physical games, and the rules would shift not just from campus to campus, but sometimes even from match to match depending on who was organizing it. The Pioneer Era, football in the 1800s. The earliest versions of football were popular among American colleges and universities, where a mix of school spirit and competitive rivalry drove students to embrace this new form of recreation. Students enjoyed intense and physical games, and football provided that mix of aggression, strategy, and teamwork. At this time, every college had its own set of rules and traditions. Some schools leaned towards soccer-style kicking games, focusing on ball control and precision, while others emphasized rugby-style running, tackling, and scrums. Because of this, a football game at Harvard could look completely different from a football game at Princeton. For example, Harvard might have rules that allowed certain kinds of carrying plays, while Yale focused on kicking-oriented strategies. The first official intercollegiate football game, which many historians consider the true birth of American football, was played on November 6, 1869 between Rutgers and Princeton. This game featured teams of 25 players on each side and resembled a soccer match with a round ball and no forward passing. Nonetheless, this match set the stage for the evolution of American football and paved the way for the NFL. It inspired other colleges to form teams and schedule games, sparking a rapid spread of the sport throughout the Northeast. Walter Camp in the 1880s Reformation. By the late 1800s, the need for standardized rules became clear, as intercollegiate games often descended into confusion when different rulebooks collided. Walter Camp, a Yale athlete often called the father of American football, became the central figure in this transformation. Camp was a multi-sport athlete, playing not only football, but also baseball and track, and he had a sharp mind for strategy. In 1878, he suggested reducing team sizes from 15 to 11 players to create more open tactical gameplay. This change was officially adopted in 1880, making games more manageable and easier to follow. Camp's innovations didn't stop there. He introduced the line of scrimmage, which replaced the chaotic scrums of early football and brought order to each play's start. In 1883, he designed a scoring system, assigned significant points for touchdowns, field goals, and safeties, which allowed teams to compete more fairly. These rules gave football a clear structure and its own identity, making it distinct from rugby and soccer. Camp also played a role in introducing concepts like the quarterback position, snap from center, and the idea of downs and possession. His work during this period transformed football from a rough pastime into a disciplined, strategic game that could grow nationally. The safety crisis of 1904 to 1905. As football's popularity grew across the country, so did concerns about its safety. By the early 1900s, the game was incredibly violent. Players often wore little to no protective gear, just thin leather caps or no helmets at all, and mass formations made injuries nearly inevitable. In 1905 alone, newspapers reported 19 deaths and over 100 major injuries, leading to widespread criticism and calls to ban the sport. One of the most tragic incidents was the death of Harold Moore, a Union college player who was kicked in the head and later died from a cerebral hemorrhage during a game against NYU. Stories like Moore's caught national attention. Public outcry reached the highest levels of government. President Theodore Roosevelt, an avid sports supporter who believed in tough character-building games, called a meeting with leaders from Harvard, Yale, and Princeton. He gave them an ultimatum: improve the safety of football or face the possibility of banning the sport altogether. His involvement was a turning point for the game. In response, the Intercollegiate Football Rules Committee, IFRC, was created in January 1906. One of their major reforms was legalizing the forward pass. Until then, teams could only run the ball, which led to violent pileups and slow progress. By allowing the ball to be thrown forward, the game opened up, becoming both safer and more strategic. Over time, other safety measures were added, such as the creation of the neutral zone, penalties for dangerous plays, and the elimination of certain mass formations like the flying wedge. These changes helped football survive its growing pains and set it on a path toward national prominence. The birth of professional football in the NFL, 1920. Even with standardized rules, professional football in the early 1900s was chaotic and unregulated. There were no official leagues, and player contracts were inconsistent or non-existent. Some athletes would jump from team to team mid-season in search of better pay, and there was no governing body to prevent these moves. College players were even being secretly paid to play in professional games, which caused major controversies and blurred the line between amateur and professional status. To address these problems, 4 Ohio League team owners, representing Canton, Dayton, Akron, and Cleveland, met in Canton, Ohio on August 20, 1920. they formed a new league called the American Professional Football Conference, which was later renamed the American Professional Football Association, APFA. 10 teams soon joined, including franchises from Illinois, New York, and Pennsylvania. Legendary athlete Jim Thorpe was named as the first president, adding credibility to the league and helping draw attention from fans. On September 26, 1920, the first official APFA game took place between the Rock Island Independents and the St. Paul Ideals, with Rock Island winning 48-0. This league would eventually evolve into the NFL in 1922, laying the foundation for a professional sport that would grow into an American cultural giant. Early NFL stars and equipment, 1920s through 1950s. In its early years, NFL players wore very little protection, often just leather helmets, minimal padding, and basic uniforms. As the game became faster, more physical, and more competitive, the need for better equipment became obvious. The 30s and 40s saw incremental improvements in padding and uniform materials. By the 50s, plastic helmets with face masks became standard, dramatically reducing head and facial injuries and allowing players to play more fearlessly. The league also started to produce its first true stars. Players like Ernie Nevers, who once scored 40 points in a single game, and Patty Driscoll made a name for themselves. However, the biggest star of the 20s was Red Grange, known as the Galloping Ghost. Grange's unmatched speed, agility, and field vision changed how fans viewed the NFL. When he joined the Chicago Bears in 1925, his first professional game attracted 36,000 fans, a record-breaking crowd at the time. The Bears then went on a national tour, playing teams in various cities, and almost 400,000 fans came out to watch Grange play. His popularity was so immense that it brought national recognition to the NFL and proved that professional football could rival college football in excitement and entertainment value. The television boom and the greatest game ever played, 1950s. Television arrived in the 50s and transformed the NFL. Fans who couldn't attend games in person could now watch from their living rooms, greatly expanding the sport's reach and increasing its commercial value. The 1958 NFL Championship game between the Baltimore Colts and the New York Giants, which went into sudden death overtime, is often referred to as the greatest game ever played. The game's thrilling finish, featuring legendary players like Johnny Unitas, captivated millions of viewers and played a key role in making football America's favorite sport. It also demonstrated how the drama of live sports could keep audiences glued to their screens, a lesson that would shape future broadcasting deals. The AFL-NFL rivalry and merger, 1960s through 1970. By the late 50s, the NFL faced new competition. Lamar Hunt, a wealthy oil businessman with a passion for football, tried to start an NFL team in Dallas, but was rejected. Not willing to give up, he formed a rival league called the American Football League, AFL, in 1959. 7 other investors joined him, and they jokingly called themselves the Foolish Club, because it seemed crazy to take on the establishment NFL. The AFL launched its first season in 1960 and quickly gained attention. Their style of play was flashier, with more passing and big plays. They also introduced innovations like putting players' names on their jerseys, using a wider hash mark spacing for field goals, and signing highly talented players directly from college drafts, which made it easier for fans to follow their favorite athletes. As the AFL grew in popularity, the NFL saw the need for cooperation to avoid an expensive, drawn-out rivalry. In 1970, the two leagues merged, creating the AFC and NFC conferences. The merger also solidified the Super Bowl, which began in 1967 and quickly became the biggest sports event in the country, with millions of viewers tuning in every year. The 1970s, era of dynasties. The 70s were marked by dominant teams and hard-nosed football. The Pittsburgh Steelers built one of the most feared defenses in history, known as the Steel Curtain. Led by stars like Mean Joe Green, Jack Lampert, and Jack Ham, and supported by quarterback Terry Bradshaw and running back Franco Harris, the Steelers won 4 Super Bowls in just 6 years, 1974 through 79, cementing their legacy as one of the NFL's greatest dynasties. Meanwhile, the Miami Dolphins, coached by Don Shula, achieved the NFL's only perfect season in 1972, winning every single game, including Super Bowl VII. They followed up with another Super Bowl victory in 1973, cementing their place in history. This back-to-back dominance made them one of the league's most respected franchises. The Dallas Cowboys also became a household name during this era. Known as America's team, they reached 6 Super Bowls in the 70s, winning 2, Super Bowl VI in 72 and Super Bowl XII in 78. The Cowboys' games were broadcast widely, helping them become one of the most recognized sports franchises in the U.S. The team's star players like quarterback Roger Staubach and running back Tony Dorsett became national icons. Modern NFL and the analytics revolution, 2000s through present. Football continued to evolve into the 21st century. Teams began relying heavily on data and analytics to guide play calling, scouting, and even injury prevention. Decisions on whether to go for it on 4th down or attempt a long field goal are now influenced by statistics and probability models derived from years of data. Offensive strategies like the run-pass option, RPO, and spread formations allow quarterbacks to make quick reads and keep defenses guessing. Modern quarterbacks are faster, stronger, and more versatile. Stars like Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, and Josh Allen have redefined what it means to play quarterback, using both their arms and legs to create explosive plays. Defensive players have also become faster and more specialized, with edge rushers, nickel cornerbacks, and hybrid safeties designed to counter high-powered offenses. Teams also used advanced video analytics and even artificial intelligence to prepare game plans. Current NFL stars, 2025. As of 2025, the NFL is packed with talent. Josh Allen of the Buffalo Bills has been named league MVP for his outstanding combination of passing and running ability. Patrick Surtain II of the Denver Broncos has earned the title of Defensive Player of the Year thanks to his elite coverage skills. Joe Burrow, after overcoming injuries, has been named Comeback Player of the Year. Jaden Daniels of the Washington Commanders is putting together one of the best rookie seasons in history, while Jared Verse of the Los Angeles Rams has emerged as the top defensive rookie. Safety Kirby Joseph leads the league in interceptions, and Micah Parsons of the Dallas Cowboys is widely regarded as the most disruptive defensive force in the game. Other stars like Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, and Nick Bosa continue to shape the modern era of football. From its rough-and-tumble beginnings in college fields to the high-tech stadiums of today, American football has come a long way. It's grown from a niche college activity into a multi-billion-dollar industry watched by millions around the world. With new stars emerging every season, constant innovations in coaching and strategy, and global interest increasing, the future of football looks brighter than ever. What do you think? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more.